Welcome. 12:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The date, December 1, 2010. And basically, we went through the pre-market, what we talked about this morning. Here we are in the latter part of the day, and 3/4 of an hour left. That's 45 minutes, MMTs. So we've had a broad-based run again. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing, MMTs, is understanding the last 5 days times 3. So that's 5 days, 5 days, 5 days. That's 15 actual trading days. And basically, there was a lot of things that have gone on, and money has moved out of bonds today and have returned into the equity scene. And we have had these very broad-based sector rallies, as I'm going to show right here, right now. The broad base is when you get into the U.S. indices and you start right over here in the S&P 500, what you're going to see is that the whole broader base S&P 500 index is all positive. These were the things that we had talked about yesterday, first day of the month, and we have gone around these walks around Wall Street in the last 15 trading days, and one of the things that we had discovered in the prior ones is where there wasn't actually any price action follow-up the following day. So therefore it meant that there has been buying all the time from that original top that we were talking about 3 weeks ago. And basically this Friday we're going to have 3 periods of 5, and we're going to channel in to each market component and the market timestamp. That's what it was doing on certain days versus other days so that the MMTs can get a clear pattern. And one of them is the broad-based buying right here. I'm scrolling down. All of that S&P 500 is green. So that meant that when they gapped those futures up really big, that the bear was below the market. So the bears that kept trying to get on at the end of the downside move so far, when those bears got all in down there, then we had this big gap up on December 1, kind of like we did on September 1st, after we had that short in August of 2010 that we were involved in, and that would be the end of it at the end of the month. And so far, on the first of this particular month right here, you can see the buying. And when you look at some of the other ones that are key components, such as the S&P 100 itself, it has complete price action to the buy side. It's a short cover tape. There's lots of things that go into these kinds of tapes. There's lots of mechanics and price mechanisms and things that people are doing. So when that bear got ganged up and they gapped the prices up above them, you've got natural buyers, and those people on the pullbacks have been buy to cover. That means that if the equities or indexes, if they're short and they continue to go higher above those prices, they're losing more and more money. And they too have an equal amount of fear, just as when the markets were going down. So that's the S&P 100. That's a very important one, by the way. And another one that's important is the Dow Jones Component. We're going to go back to the Dow Transports, and we've got what we like here. And the thing about these moves, and the thing so far current to date since that reversal top that we called for, we went through a lot of selling to close out the month of November yesterday as well. So they closed that out, and then pop goes the weasel today. We talked about that yesterday, okay? And the realities are we did. And we're going to, the next reality is that S&P small cap, which it's populating. This is that small cap in the last hour. And that small cap has an array of green. And same thing applies. And you can see that money is flowing in. And part of the money flowing is the big contagion and all the fear, which there's lots of good reason to be over there. If Portugal and Spain go down and Ireland goes down and they all, that whole thing, but that's not really going to happen. So the thing about it is they're working on trying to get that straightened out. And so there was some news out of that part of the world that provided some support. Okay. And in the energies and resource area, which I'm going to pull up, and I'm going to go straight to the commodity section. It's all green right here, MMTs. And basically FCX, as I said on the other videos this week in our price action, is that FCX was a leader there. Okay, and Newmont Mining, you could even look at that as a trade that on good days that gold does well. The miner does have a price action movement, and there are profits to be made in that one too. X Steel is up as well. So that's one of the things that we really want to look at. Now, in the energy sector, you can see you got that Hess had an upgrade today. And other things too, MMT, is that you can see some of these net changes in some of the major names that we like that are catching a nice bid. So basically, people are spreading the buy action across the board. The oil services, MMTs, is also not. Look at that. And there are certain ones in here that are good and have good pricing structures for price action to make money with, long and short. In the financial services, I'm going to go to the Smp Banking Index, and what I've got is that, once again, people are coming in and buying down the beaten financials in here, the BIX.X. The other major banking sector, which is that BKX, KBW Banking there, is that it's all green too. So the retail, when we were having the good numbers for Thanksgiving, and they kept selling them down, but they've come back and bought them all. And we also went over some of the leaders in here that would participate. During the last 2 days, 2 selling days of November, we clearly pointed them out, and we clearly look for the leadership always in each one of the areas that we have always mentioned. When we go into the transports, we go into the airlines, and we can see across the board that they're buying. And in the Nasdaq transportations, that's that TRANX. And, it has a little, that's related to the Nasdaq comp, because it's called Nasdaq Transportation MMTs. That's nice. Let's take a look at the semiconductors today, and let's see if there's any buying in the Philly Semiconductor, the SOX index, and naturally the chips are on fire. Always in the old days, MMTs, it used to be the semis would lead the rally, and you would always want to see this sector doing well. There's lots of reasons why. We'll discuss them at a later date. One of the things that you're going to find quite odd is we got all green right here in the housing sector. So people are buying in some of the home builders today, along with the beaten down financials and the beaten down home builders. Why? Because people's belief changed that things can get better. There's still a lot of volatility headlines to follow, though, MMTs, that are going to come out tomorrow or after the close. But nonetheless, the conviction is, the broader part of the sentiment is, hey, it's time to buy because of their belief system. Their belief is that things are getting better from some of the data that we had come out. Let's take a look at the C Credit First Swiss Boston Technology Group. The technology is on fire. It's very evident. These were tech names that we had talked about a few days ago. And the computer technologies, we had even talked about that, and they're buying them there. There are leaders in here. In this computer technology, Google's in this index. So is Apple as well, and Microsoft. And that's what makes this particular one attractive, because he had SanDisk the other day that had made some moves. It continues to make another move today. Another thing that I like, MMTs, is the telecommunication sector. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq Telecom. What do we have, if anything? There we go. We have a mixed bag in here. Let's take a look and see what that grab bag is. We sure have a lot more green.